Well, good morning. Welcome back to the Broadcast Retirement Network. I'm Jeff Snyder. This is BRN AM for Wednesday, March 30th, 2022. At our top story today, a personal finance class is only required in 24 states. Well, joining me now to discuss this and a lot more, George Grombacher is the Chief Community Officer with Money Alignment Academy. George, great to see you. Thanks so much for joining us again on the program this morning.
Yeah, it's always great to be with you, Jeff.
And we were joking, we're both part of the Black Shirt Club. When I'm not wearing my button down, I wear a black shirt as well. So it's good to see that we're very similar in that regard as well. All right, George, Florida becomes the latest state to pass some type of financial literacy requirement, but there's still only less than half the states with that. I want to get your reaction to first Florida, but let's talk about the who, the how, the why here.
Yeah, Florida really leading the way in lots of different areas, but that's neither here nor there. So, we talked about what we're going to discuss on today's show, and you said, I think we really ought to talk about financial literacy in high school. And I thought, okay, great. I thought, I wonder if I would have even paid attention, and therefore I wonder if it's even worth doing. And then I realized, of course it is, because some of the stuff that they tried to teach me in high school stuck. And that's the challenge and the opportunity with everything that we do as human beings, is just like financial literacy education for employees at companies, not everything's going to stick, but some of it's going to stick. And down the road, when you're ready to make some kind of a financial decision, you're going to have that knowledge that was passed on. So, long answer to a good question is yes, all states ought to have some type of financial literacy requirement to graduate high school.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I don't understand what the holdup is. By the way, when it comes to my schooling, I remember the Pythagorean theorem, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And I also remember the Battle of Hastings, 1066, good old William the Conqueror. All right, George, of these 20 some odd states, only 10 have a standalone requirement. So that's kind of interesting to me. Like when I think of what I need to learn, or what, if I had kids, what my kids should learn, it'd be reading, writing, arithmetic, right? The three R's, history, and what money is and how to use money. It just seems so embedded in what you need to know as a human being.
And a lot of the things that we used to teach young people, and this is, before my time, like home ec and shop class, these things were not taught in my city or state. When I was growing up, I would have benefited from. So my guess is that there are so many demands that we're placing on schools, and we're teaching to be able to help our kids pass standardized tests and stuff like that. So like any big problem that I'm looking at trying to solve, I say, okay, what's going on in my local community here? What's going on in my local schools? And if I look at that and I say, well, this is a problem we need to have home ec, or we need to be teaching on how to balance my checkbook, or how to manage a credit card, or should I have a credit card, or how do I do my taxes? Well, that's something that you should take on personal responsibility for, and talk to the school board about, and try to get that added to the curriculum.
George, do you think it matters whether or not there's a standalone course versus an integrated course? So it's part of, as you said, home ec, it's part of social science, or social studies. I guess that's what they used to call it when I was in primary school. But do you think that it makes sense? Is it such an important topic, I guess, that 10 states got it right and the other 13, 14, they're just integrating it? So it's kind of part of the requirement, but not really.
That's a good question. What does get it right mean in the first place, right? And how many hours are devoted to teaching this? How deep are they going with all of it? As you're saying that, I think it might be cool to have some kind of, and I don't really like the term, adulting course or an adulting class for seniors, where you learn a little bit about, putting together a grocery list and a grocery budget, and how that, it's more of an integrated approach to being a grown up and everything that you need to be doing. but I haven't thought that one all the way through. So
Yeah. Well, I think back to the Saved by the Bell episode where both, Jesse and Slater and Kelly and Zach, they were kind of going through a home ec course and they had a baby, right? And they take care of the baby. I think it's kind of the same thing, George, where you have to, teach the baby not only how to go to college and do all the things you need to do, but also that seems to me a really important thing, and how to manage your money and how to take care of your investments and what a budget is. And that how can you have a baby if you don't know what the budget is? I mean, I guess you can have a baby biologically, but could you? What are the decision points in terms of a budget? What's it going to cost to have that baby long term?
yeah, it strikes me that we've just come up with a great solution to this problem of making it an experiential Saved by the Bell type scenario where you go through all the different levels to really what that means: buying a home, shopping for groceries, having a child, starting a family, all those kinds of things. And you could actually make it fun. And if you're able to do that, that's probably when it sticks a little bit more.
So for those people, George, who are in states where there's not currently a financial literacy requirement and they want one, I mean, it's certainly within the realm of possibility that they may want one for their child. How do you suggest people advocate for something like this? I mean, do you go to your local school board? Do you go to your local school board and talk to your governor, the legislature that you in the state that you live in?
Well, I think that the first thing is that you need to be making sure that you're talking to your own kid about money. I think that it's great when schools are filling in gaps, but I think it's your responsibility. So there's that first. And then I would start with the actual teacher, because it could be that they're already incorporating some kind of financial lessons, or it could be that there's a nonprofit like Junior Achievement that is in the classroom that is teaching on these things. So talk to your teacher. And if they can't answer the question, well, then talk to the school. And if they can't answer the question, or if there's no curriculum being taught, well, then yes, I think then you can go directly to the school board. But I would always just start with who is actually teaching your kids. So start by talking to your teacher.
Do you remember show and tell, George? I used to bring in my Godzilla to the class, and we would, everyone would look at my Shogun Godzilla who could stick his tongue out when you pulled you could have like a show and tell where parents could come in and give financial literacy lessons. You don't even need the teacher, George. You could bring in parents. Parents have a vested interest in their child. I think that'd be kind of a cool show and tell. Maybe it'd be a little bit different show and tell in high school versus elementary school, but still, it's real world experience.
1,000%. And it'd be fun if you had class with 20 kids, just to have a parent come in, once a week and talk a little bit about what they do, but then incorporate some kind of an important life skill that they would want to share or be comfortable sharing. So there's a lot of creative solutions to this. I don't want to call it a problem, but it's a problem that if we are creative about it, and again, try to make it a little bit of fun and interactive, then it's probably going to be more successful. Great thinking, Jeff.
I like where we were going with that. I would ask the question, kind of going into the commercial break, what would Richie Belding do? He was the principal for Bayside High. George, I need to take a quick break. When we come back, how much money should you take if you're going to take a personal loan? Well, we've got some suggestions. You're going to want to stay tuned right here on BRN AM. Imagine a new television network that will make you richer, healthier, and in control of your financial future. This network is for the policewoman in Nashville, Tennessee, the baker in Dubuque, Iowa, the teacher in Lexington, Kentucky. We want to make the idea of savings and retirement culturally relevant. But what do you see as a defining issue of the midterms, especially for the smaller businesses? I mean, they are the lifeblood of the American economy. Featuring exclusive interviews, current affairs, and docuseries. 33 years old, you retired early.
The philosophy is money only matters if it helps you live a life that you love.
But you got to start thinking about retirement as soon as you get
The Broadcast Retirement Network will drive very high engagement with premium partnerships. So this isn't retirement and savings for your parents or grandparents. This is for all Americans. And we're going to change the way you think about money. Welcome to the next frontier of retirement and savings. This is BRN, the Broadcast Retirement Network.
Are you over 50? Would you like to get up to 33% more income in retirement? Then call now for this free book, Annuity Do's and Don'ts for Baby Boomers. This free book reveals little-known secrets about annuity strategies that will help you make the right choices before buying an annuity. Call right now for your free book, and as a bonus, we'll also throw in a free annuity rate report, both absolutely free for calling Annuity General today.
Call 800-504-8194.
Welcome back. We're talking to the Big Bopper, George Grombacher. He is the Chief Community Officer for Money Alignment Academy. George, thanks so much for staying with us this morning.
Yeah, glad to still be here.
And Big Bopper, it was a reference to Richard Belding from Saved by the Bell. We're going to carry that over into this segment. George, a lot of people out there may be looking for some personal loans. And I guess my first question to you is, should I tap my 401k if I need to borrow money to, say, buy a house, buy a boat, start a business? I mean, what's the rule of thumb there? Because I know you are also a retirement plan advisor.
Yeah, well, the answer to that question is no, Jeff. You should not tap your 401k to buy sports tickets, a boat, or really anything else. It's so hard for us to. Did he go by Richie, Jeff?
He went by Richard. He went by Mr. Belding, but he went by Richard, and then he was known in his high school years as Richie the Big Bopper Belding. And don't forget his brother, Rod, who was a complete opposite of him. Anyway, we're going to get sued. I'm going to get sued by NBC, by the way. Hopefully not, but we're going to probably get sued by NBC.
The answer is no. Well, they'll just start with a cease and desist letter. They probably won't go directly to suing, so you probably have a little bit of a window.
Hopefully.
And the idea here is that we create a window of additional money that we can access so that we're not having to rob our future selves of the money that we're putting away for that one day, which, God willing, I will be an older person. It's really hard for me to imagine myself being older, even though more and more gray hair is appearing all the time, Jeff. But that the money you're putting away for your 401k, we all know, is for your future self. It's for your retirement. So therefore, we need to figure out how to create funds that will be available to us for living now, the next 3 years, 10 years, 15 years before retirement.
Yeah, it's about that budget. And I go back to what we were talking about in the first segment. You got to know what a budget is and how to do that. I think a lot of adults struggle with that. But let's just say you want to take a loan. You want to take a personal loan. You don't have personal savings. You don't want to tap that 401k. You don't want to liquidate an IRA or any other investment. How do you figure out how much to borrow? Because, George, interest rates, I don't know if you've heard, but interest rates are going up.
I have heard that. So figuring out how much you're interested in borrowing, and if you don't mind, I want to take a step back and say that when I first heard about personal loans, I had in my mind like a payday loan, and I thought predatory. I thought really, really bad, negative. So I've come to change my opinion because as a human being, I have the capacity to learn and grow and change my opinion and my thinking. And I find that they're not necessarily inherently evil, which of course nothing is inherently evil. So to figure out, okay, do I have good credit? So if I don't have good credit, then this is probably not a good choice for me because I'm not going to qualify for a reasonably priced personal loan. So I think that's kind of a yes or a no. Should I do this? Good credit, perhaps. Bad credit, no, I should not. I need to be doing the things that it takes to improve my credit to make myself a more attractive borrower to the actual loan provider, to the bank or whoever it is. But assuming that I do have good credit, I can get a good quality, high quality prime loan from one of these personal loan providers. Well, then figure out exactly what it is that you're interested in buying. If it's a boat, or if it's you want to add on to your home or do a remodel, something like that, do your best to get to within 10% of what that cost is, because it's probably going to cost a little bit more than you're expecting. But that would be my thinking.
Yeah, I think you're right. And let's be clear here. If you do all those people doing buy now, pay later loans, they're going to show up on your credit report. They're going to show up in your credit score. So there's no place that you can't escape the impact of taking a loan on your credit score, your ability to borrow in the future, what rate you're going to pay. And therefore, it really makes sense to know what type of amount, what total amount you're going to want to borrow before you actually do it. If you only need 25, you're not going to want to take 50, because if you take double that, it's going to show up, the outstanding balance is going to show up on your credit score. It's going to ding you for your credit report and your credit score, and could impact your ability to buy a house, get a car loan, home equity loan, some other amount of money.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, as much as we can, take a step back and look at our entire financial world from a more integrated standpoint. Me, have a tendency to just look at things in silos or vacuums and say, oh, personal loan. But it's not that. It is, to your point, going to have an impact on everything else that you have going on, which is why we need to also think about our 401k and think about, okay, I'm going to need money in 50 years. I'm going to need money tomorrow. How do I balance all these things? That will help, hopefully, to help me prioritize my behaviors around money.
And I go back to what we talked about in the first segment. These are the types of things, George, that students and parents and adults, people our age, need to learn about and be reminded about, because you can't know it all. Learning has to be continuous and has to happen. George Grombacher, always a pleasure chatting with you. I'm glad we brought in Saved by the Bell. I'll be waiting for that cease and desist order from NBC. Great to talk to you. Thanks for sharing your perspective, my friend.
Thanks for having me on.
And that wraps up this episode of BRN AM. Have a topic of interest, someone you think we should talk to? Well, drop us a line. And don't forget, for all the latest curated news and lifestyle, wellness, finance, tech, so much more in all in one place, check out today's edition of our daily newsletter, The Morning Pulse. Want to search our archives, check out our latest content? Well, of course, look at our website and our streaming partners like Amazon, Roku, Samsung, over 100 more. We're back again tomorrow for another edition of BRN AM. Until then, I'm Jeff Snyder. Stay safe, keep on saving, and don't forget, roll with the changes. Now is your opportunity to co-create content around any topic on the First Lifestyle and Wellness Network. Reach a global audience through our platform and co-own exclusive branded content. All of our programs are available on demand and also as audio-only podcasts, so you can take us on the go. Broadcast Retirement Network, available anytime, anywhere, and on any device.
Are you being audited and do you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes? Is the IRS threatening to take more of your money? Don't fight the IRS alone. The Tax Doctor is here to help you negotiate your tax bill and reduce your stress. The IRS can freeze your assets and seize your bank accounts, but you can stop these IRS actions. The Tax Doctor will work with you using our years of experience to represent your case to help you get the best resolution under the IRS guidelines. Help is here to deal with the IRS to reduce your stress. We've handled thousands of cases, so we know what we're doing. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, do not call the IRS alone. Call a Tax Doctor now for a tax emergency analysis.
Call 800-224-6439.